For my observation presentation, I decided to research the Google Maps app. And this is how it looks like when you open it, the main screen. All these icons on the left I'll explain in a bit. And the sidebar that opens up later, I'll show you that. And these three options over here, Explore, Driving, and Transit. And it basically gives you a bunch of dining and shopping options based on your real-time location. And this is linked to your Gmail account, so it gives you options based on that too, based on how many places you've visited and stuff. And I think these settings are pretty cool. The Explore setting is basically giving you options on dining, shopping. Here you can see the little icons for drinks, dinner, breakfast, and searching nearby. If you keep scrolling on, it gives you pictures of places nearby as well. And it tells you a little bit about the area where you are currently located. Driving, when you click on it, is basically the options for addresses you have saved or places you visit a lot. Like for instance, I have saved my work location, so it gives me the driving estimates for how long it'll take me to work based on current traffic. And it also gives you traffic. It says light traffic in my area. And the transit is the time estimates for bus and train, basically. Okay, and these little icons on the side, this is the layers, which shows you the map types for the default, satellite, and terrain. I think the satellite is pretty neat because it shows you the landmarks if you're a landmark person who likes to see buildings and who likes to see landmarks when you're being told directions. It's pretty helpful because it shows you basically all the buildings and landmarks nearby, or what location, depending on what your location you're going to is. And this is the compass, and you can always have it facing north. Let's turn that back to default. And map details, it shows you transit information, traffic information, and bicycling. And it changes the map based on this information. So let's say I put traffic, and it added these green and red lines on my map. That's the traffic in the current area, which is pretty neat. And as well as bicycling, it's the blue, basically the dotted lines on the map, and the blue, as you can see. And My Maps is basically when you download maps for offline use. Let's say you're going to, for instance, in this case, I was going into Washington, and I downloaded maps in the area that I was going to be around because I wasn't sure if I was going to have mobile data at the time. And it becomes pretty useful if you're traveling. And when you open the sidebar, it gives you it shows you your name, your Gmail account that's linked to your Google Maps, shows you your icon, and then all these settings over here, like let's say your places, basically shows you all the saved addresses you have on your map. So let's say I have home and work saved. On my map, it'll show me these two icons, and I'll know that, oh, that's where home is, and oh, that's where work is. And then upcoming is a pretty cool feature as well. It links to your Gmail calendar, and let's say you have a birthday dinner at a certain restaurant coming up. If you link it to your Gmail and turn on the feature, it'll link it to your account, and you'll know that, oh, I have to be at that place at that time. And let's say like 15 minutes before that time, it'll ask if you want an Uber or a Lyft. It'll also tell you how long it'll take to get there. And visited, it's places you visited if you turn on the feature. I I normally have it on. I'm not sure why it's off right now, but. And then maps is the maps I have downloaded. Let's go back here to my timeline. It shows me places I've been to, like based on like today. I've only been at home, obviously, but let's say yesterday. Pretty sure I went out, yeah, places I went to yesterday. It basically shows you all the history of locations that I went to on that certain day, which is pretty cool. And kind of creepy, but you know, if you want to make use of the app and you want to have these the explore area filled up with all your favorite restaurants and favorite places to go, it comes pretty useful when you want to think of something to do or a place to go. It basically learns from you based on the locations that you've been to. And your contributions is kind of like a Yelp for places that you've been to. You get to review places and add pictures, and basically shows your reviews. And if you become pretty popular, I think they pay you. Not entirely sure though. But those are the places that I've reviewed. And location sharing is a new feature, which I think is pretty cool as well. And let's say you're going to meet a friend at the movie theater and you want them to know your location or how long it's going to take you to get there. You can share your location for your real-time location for an hour or until you turn off the application, basically, and you get to select the person and then they get to see how long it's going to take you to get there, which is pretty cool. And all these is to start driving, which is basically to start using the app. And these layers are already explained, so let's start using it. Back to where we are, and you can either input the address that you have to go to or speak it. So let's say I want to go to the movie theater. Makes it a lot easier because you don't have to input numbers with a complex keyboard that Android has. And I choose the closest one. You usually go to this one, and it gives you the profile page, the Google profile for that location, and you would click on directions and it tells you how long it takes to get there, and it also gives you the fastest route, which is pretty cool. The exclamation point usually means there's construction in this route. If you click on it, it tells you this route has restricted usage or private roads, and it gives you the word-by-word directions if you're a person that needs to see that. And once you start, basically tells you it speaks out the directions to you, and also gives you the gray areas usually mean different routes, and it gives you the time of the route and how much longer it'll take if you take that route, which is pretty useful sometimes if you see there's a lot of traffic or there's a restricted road usage like this one had, because probably of the construction that's going on over here. So we can take a different route, 3 minutes, and change up the directions here, which is pretty cool. And then there's the options that open up when you drag up the little area of the screen, and which is what we talked about before, the shared trip progress. And they have an indication that it's new, and I want to share it with the person I'm meeting at the movie theater. And then they can see my location. They receive a notification. They have to have the app as well, of course. And I can stop sharing once I'm done or once I close the app. Another cool feature I think is pretty neat is the search a long route app. Let's say you have to put gas before you get to the movie theater. You can click on gas stations, and it gives you all the gas stations available in that area and the price and how long it's going to take to get there, which is pretty neat as well. So then there's a show traffic on map, which I already had on, so it's not really showing a different thing. And then there's a show satellite map. If you're a landmark person and like to see, oh, okay, let's say I have to make a left on this gas station, which you usually don't need, but if, you know, peace of mind for people who like to see that satellite layer, I think it's pretty helpful. And that's basically it for those. And then the settings is basically if you want to change the distance units, the voice level. You can also change the language, which is pretty cool for Spanish speakers. And oh, you can also activate OK Google. Oh, there it is. And ask it for directions without actually opening the app, which is pretty neat.
Opening the Galaxy apps.
Sorry. Well, it just opened. Just opened something completely different, but that's a pretty neat feature, I think. And you can also get driving notifications. So those are all just extra settings. And that's basically the app. I think it's pretty simple to use. It can get pretty, I guess, heavy duty if you want it to. If you like to use all the features that I showed you, the extra settings and the layers, and having it follow you around and turning on your location so it learns all of your, basically, your travel areas and your favorite shopping and dining areas. I think that's a pretty cool feature to have. And as far as something that I would improve, probably just the construction. I know there's some construction areas that it does indicate, but I think it could use a little update on some of them, because I know I've had issues with highways where it goes a little crazy because it doesn't know what's going on because that road is closed. So better reroute options maybe, and just keeping maps updated with construction so we know what roads are closed and what roads we can't take when we're using the map. Like for instance, this is pretty updated, I think. Has a construction site icon right there. And it labels everything pretty good too, with shopping and dining. As well as giving you the options for transit, even walking, which is pretty cool. And requesting lifts straight from the app is also a pretty cool feature. And even bicycle time estimates. So I think it's a pretty cool app. It can be simple if you want it to be simple, or it can be, you know, pretty intense or more complex if you want it to be complex. And I really like the microphone feature because it makes looking for things a lot easier without having to input everything. So that's really cool and made the whole design process simpler to understand, because I didn't have to go looking for my keyboard and typing letters or numbers, so that made it a lot easier. Yep, and that's basically the Google Maps. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.